time to master pet. I'ma tell the whole truth and shame. Shalom fam, thank you once again for checking in here. Word made fresh. I am Solomon, that's Shaloma. And this is the third video in our series, Torah or Nah. So we appreciate you taking the time to come back once again. If you haven't checked out the first two, make sure you go back and check those out so we can watch this one in context. We're not going to waste a lot of time, and we're going to jump right into it. And what we're doing is really picking up where we left off in the second video, where we looked at how Yah has chosen to deal with humanity through covenants and laws. And we looked at 3 different covenants. We'll look at another one today. By way of preference, say a couple of things that when we looked at the covenants and laws, one thing that did not mention in that second video is that Yah really dealt with humanity on all different levels. He dealt with Abraham as an individual. He gave him a covenant individually, but it still affected all of humanity. Then he dealt with Noah in Genesis chapter number 9, but that was a covenant for all of humanity. And then he dealt with Yisrael as a nation, and so when you look at how he dealt with humanity, he just dealt with all aspects, individually, nationally, and universally, and he still did it through covenants and laws. And so now we're going to look at another covenant here. And I will say this, that when we look at the new covenant or the renewed covenant, we're not going to split hairs here on this video. One thing we have to understand is that you can't jump to the New Testament scriptures or the Messianic scriptures to get a full understanding of how Torah and the new covenant relate. You always have to go back to the old covenant. That's really with any teaching of the scriptures. You cannot get a full understanding by just pulling passages out of the new covenant scriptures and thinking that you got a full understanding. No, you got to go to the old covenant, because that's the foundation, that's the basis of which the New Testament is built on. And so you got to look at prophecy. And once you see prophecy, understand prophecy, then you'll better understand the fulfillment of prophecy, which is in the New Testament scriptures. And so that's what we're going to do right here. And we're going to start by looking at Yirmeyahu chapter number 31. That's Jeremiah chapter number 31. And let's look at verse number 31 and following. And the word says this. He says, "See, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, when I shall make a new covenant, a renewed covenant with the house of Yisrael and with the house of Yehudah. Not like the covenant I made with their fathers in the day when I strengthened their hand to bring them out of the land of Mizraim," that's Egypt, "my covenant which they broke, though I was a husband to them, declares Yahuwah. For this is the covenant I shall make with the house of Yisrael after those days, declares Yahuwah. I shall put my Torah in their inward parts and write it on their hearts, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people." Right off the bat, he simply says, listen, just like I did with Noah, with Abraham, with Yisrael, when I cut a covenant, I got to do something with laws. He says immediately, I'm cutting a new covenant. And then he says, I'm putting my Torah. He says, I'm doing something with my Torah, right? But what he did not say is, I'm doing away with my Torah. He didn't say that at all. What he said is in verse number 33. He said, I'm putting it in their hearts. I'm putting it in their inward parts. That's what he said. And so, it may sound foreign. Sometimes it sounds strange. It's different than what we, may have been taught in our circles of faith. But again, this is the foundation of our understanding of Torah and the new covenant. And he says, I'm putting it in their hearts, in their inward parts. A couple of things we want to notice in the passage in verse number 33. He says, and when he says it's my Torah, right? My Torah. So what is his Torah exactly, right? We're going to let scripture tell us what his Torah is. And look at Yirmeyahu chapter number 32, verse 23. He says, "And they came in and possessed it, but they did not obey your voice, nor did they walk in your Torah." Talking about Yah. "They did not do all that you commanded them to do, so you brought all this evil upon them." So clearly the scriptures help us to understand, what his Torah was. It was the one that Yisrael didn't walk in, which is the one that they received at Mount Sinai. So, don't have to really, stress that at all. It makes it very clear what his Torah was. So he said, once again, I'm not doing away with it and I'm not destroying it. I'm going to put it in their hearts and in their inward parts. So what does that necessarily mean? Put it in their heart and the inward parts. Once again, we're going to let scripture help us understand what that means. And look at Psalm chapter number 37 to begin with. The word says this: "The Torah of his Elohim is in his heart. His steps do not slide." Again, in Psalm 40, verse 8, he says, "I have delighted to do your pleasure, O my Elohim, and your Torah is within my heart." So just 2 examples of exactly what, that means to have the Torah in the heart. It just simply means that Yah is putting the desire, a passion, a willingness for his people within his covenant to do his Torah, right? And so if Yah is doing this, again, this is Yah doing, this is Yah speaking. If Yah is putting the desire to do his Torah for his people, then what does that mean? That means his Torah has to be around for us to have the desire to do that. It can't be destroyed, it can't be done away with. Why would he give us a desire to do something that doesn't exist? So then that begs the question, you know, what about all those passages in the New Testament that say we're not under Torah, or, you know, we don't have to obey this certain thing? You know, there's been changes to the law. All those things. Have there been changes to the law? Well, in order to find the answers out to those questions, I invite you to come back as we continue on our series, Torah Now. We're going to dig deep. You know, we're just really getting started here, but we're going to dig deep, making sure that we go line upon line, precept upon precept. We just wanted to establish, you know, the Old Testament prophecy about the Torah and what Yah himself said about it. And so, hey, if you found any value whatsoever, give it a like, you know, thumbs up, comment, share with someone who you think would, you know, enjoy or benefit from it. If you haven't subscribed, you know, consider subscribing. Check out some other videos as well as we continue to grow in knowledge and maturity in our walk with the Most High. And until next time, learn the word, live the word, and share the word. Shalom.